Hey everyone, it's Gramps here with the Mechabellum replay. Today's game is against Manaka, and we're playing the 1800 MR range. Now pretty quickly, the Amplify Specialist catches my eye here. I do like how Saber starts, and I find that the small amp core is extremely good on hounds. It helps them meet a lot of breakpoints, including one-shotting crawlers. Now loading in, my opponent has chosen Aerial Specialist with the Spider Fang start. I kind of expect them to go Spider Void Eye, Spider Phoenix, or even Spider Raiden. So maybe a good opening matchup for us, but as the game goes on, we might run into some trouble relying on Hounds for chaff clear. But that aside, looking at the building layout, we'll be pushing in from the left, and we can more or less expect a crossfire. And since I do like playing aggressively, we'll go ahead and sell off this turret and deploy on the line. The staggered deployment with the left side being pushed up and the right side being closer to the tower is pretty typical for myself, and I do like making sure that I have some hounds covering a future flank. Hey, as the round begins, we do notice my opponent has chosen crawlers, so I don't think they'll go Spider Void Eye anymore. I mean, typically, you want to open round 1 with Void Eyes and start getting experience on them and then tech them as soon as possible. So I'm expecting probably Phoenixes as a damage dealing source. But good timing on that tower, we should get away with the win here, and some decent experience on the Sabers. Just wait to clean up these last few crawlers, and we're looking pretty good. Alright. Now round 2, we're given our first unit drop. Now, since we're in a bit of a crossfire, I'm leaning towards the Phantom Ray. I was wanting to get some sort of air unit anyways, and this will be a decent DPS unit. Eventually I can replace it with a Phoenix if I need to, but unteched Phantoms can be pretty good. So we'll go ahead and add that to our left side push, and that's because if I put them on the right, and my opponent chooses Marksman, it'll be easy pickings. If they choose Phantom Rays themselves, the Phantoms will be kind of wasted here. So we'll add them to our left side push to maybe have it follow along with our army. Now along with that, we'll add some extra crawlers. We'll get a tower enhancement, and we'll get a damage buff, or this first attack enhancement, rather. Since we are in a crossfire, I'll go ahead and sell off that wall. Next round, sell off this cannon, most likely. Okay, you see opponent has also gone for Phantom Rays, has added a spider, and I think some more chaff. This is looking pretty good for us, so we should win this round as well, unless we get really unlucky with the Phantom Ray targeting here. Looking like we're gonna win, yeah. Now that tower level was really big. It ensured that we got the paralyzed first, and it made the tower timing a little better for us during the fight. So I do like leveling the tower in the crossfire if I'm not going to defend it. Now round 3, we're given some interesting options. Now I haven't teched anything, and I'm planning to get at least 3 techs, so efficient tech research is looking really good. Intensive training could have also been good. Round 3, we could train some units, but there wasn't anything that I wanted to train necessarily. I mean, level 3 Phantom Ray could be nice, but I'm not committed to using them long term, so we go for the better economic play, which is efficient tech. We'll go ahead and fill out this push, and at this point, I've leveled the tower. There's a lot on this right side, so instead of using deployments to try and defend the tower, we're just going to level it or fortify it. Now looking at our options here, we do want to add some additional chaff, so we get some extra crawlers. Pick up that defense enhancement as well. And yeah, just prioritizing, making sure to get mass recruitments if I can, get 2 additional crawlers, and set up a hound at this flank. Okay, so my opponent has chosen to sell their Phantom Ray and has deployed a boat. So this is kind of the reason why I didn't want to go intensive. If I had, I'd be in a pretty bad position. I don't really have the techs to contest boats with Phantom Rays, so having the flexibility of the efficient tech was a good decision. Now level 2 tower is not going to do too much against a boat here. Ooh, and those phantoms getting shot is not great for us. So my opponent will be winning the round with the boat. Unfortunate targeting there, but not much we can do. Yeah, boat should level as well. Now fortunately my opponent hasn't gotten, or didn't take the training spec last round. Round 4. Oh, they did take training spec. So I think this is probably the worst case scenario for us. There's nothing here we can really use, but my opponent's given an enhancement module. They have a leveled boat, and I was wrong. They did take the intensive training last round. So now they have the ability to make a ton of supplies, right? Make a ton of cash, leveling boats, selling them, especially with this intensive training. So we're definitely on a bit of a clock here. As the game drags on, we will find ourselves at a massive disadvantage. And since we need to make sure to kill this boat, potentially more boats, we go ahead and sell off the Phantom Ray and get Phoenixes. And while I did think about ranging them, I think it's more important to get our chaff clear in order. So we'll go ahead and level the hounds, get the range, and add a crawler to this flank. And again, I do like mass recruiting when possible, so I will be deploying 2 Phoenixes and the crawler here. Pretty liberal use of the missile here. Good value hitting the turret, doing some damage to the spider, and wiping out some crawlers. Not the whole pack, but pretty close. And once again, even though our tower is level 2, the opponent's tower is now level 2. We're seeing kind of the timing of these debuffs isn't great for us. With the addition of these Phoenixes, they're sitting back. They're not getting targeted as quickly by the boat, so we should win the round here. Oh, but unfortunately with the timing of that tower paralyzed, those 5 crawlers, it's looking a lot closer than we would like, and yeah, we do lose the round again, unfortunately. Round 5. We're given our second unit drop. Oh, Void Eye showing up again. Now, Mark's been showing up again, actually. A lot of repeats here. Now we have good chaff clear, but since we're in a crossfire, I'm thinking of taking the Typhoons, just to make sure to get through the units a little bit quicker, and if my opponent decides to go carry boat and gets Mothership, it'll help clear out some of the Wasps as well. So yeah, spending a lot of time on that decision, but we do end up choosing the Typhoons. This was, I think, a situation where I had all of the roles covered that were offered to me by the unit drop. So, trying to think of the unit that'd be the most valuable to me. And in the end, I do think that is the Typhoon. It has the capability to deal with aerial units, particularly wasps, which are the biggest threat to my future board. And the barrier can provide some extra value, protecting some of these hounds. And yeah, because, we definitely don't want our tower getting debuffed first, we do make sure to get a level on that tower. It's level 3. We can't afford to mass recruit, but we will pick up a Phoenix, a Crawler, and get range of the Phoenixes. Yeah, trying to maximize my Typhoon deployment here. We add a Typhoon in this flank, so my opponent will be forced to kind of answer this. At least that's the intention. Now, even with the level 3 tower here, there is a level 3 boat, so it goes down pretty quickly. Now, to my surprise, my opponent isn't really using the enhancement module to econ as much as I would expect. A lot of the time you would kind of sell the level 2 boat and just continuously recruit more or use the supplies another way. With the timing of that tower, we should be winning this round. We're looking pretty good here. Round 6. We're given a couple interesting options. Now, I was planning on buying a beacon in the future, so this is kind of a cheaper beacon, but the orbital bombardment would be decent. I mean, we could wipe out a lot of chaff on the opposing side, and if the game goes long, which I don't want it to, but if it does, the spell coming back would be more beneficial than a beacon right now. So we do go ahead and just spell that right side. And looking at our board, it's round 6, and we should probably focus on our chaff clear. Go ahead and pick up Mech Rage and get some extra hounds. I do add a Phoenix in the back here. I think that's primarily because I was afraid of the spell. Since we're committed to not really defending this side and just letting the tower be fortified and dealing with it that way, I was hoping putting a Phoenix in the back here would help it survive. Now oil and the orbital has come down. Not really caring to shield this. Since we're pushing in, the shields wouldn't do a whole lot. Yeah, pretty rough round for us here. We'll be taking quite a bit of damage. Round 7. I think we're given maybe 2 interesting options. The Wasp form is the best for us. It's a lot cheaper than the Acid Blast, and it could help get a tower debuff here. Unfortunately, these options are much better for our opponent who is using boats, but it is what it is. Take that Wasp form and we'll add it to that left corner to try and distract some of this. Being the Steel Ball spawn module, we'll go ahead and just level this tower to level 5. Having Steel Balls lock on the tower is gonna kill the benefit of it being healthy, but at level 5, the 1 second debuff is not gonna matter too much. And now looking at my opponent's board, I'm thinking, okay, if I can stop or slow down the boats somehow, we can prevent a lot of the damage of my opponent, right? Other than spiders, my opponent doesn't have damage. Sorry, other than the boats, my opponent doesn't have damage. So if he can try and AM them and prevent them from doing damage, I'm hoping we can win the round. So Saber AM's not the best, but we had Sabers that we started with, and there isn't a whole lot on the ground stopping them. Sabers are excellent into spiders. We'll go ahead and just click the anti-missile tech. It is cheaper with the efficient tech research as well. I think this is one of the rare situations where Saber AM might actually be pretty good. Now, unfortunately with this movement beacon, we did kind of split up our coverage, so not doing a whole lot stopping these boats at the moment. Level 5 tower does go down, but like I said, the 1 second debuff isn't too bad at all. Yeah, my plan not quite working out. We will be looking almost dead. Fortunately, we do survive here, going to round 8. We're given our 3rd unit drop. Now, Void Eye's showing up for the 3rd time. I think Arclight's showing up once again. But looking at the options, Wasp will be the best choice for us. It'll be the best to sell as well. And maybe we can get away with something cheeky on this right side. So we'll go ahead and just add Wasp to this right side. Now thinking about it, because this is a level 5 tower, my opponent has boats, which are quite good against Wasps. I should have just sold them and used the econ this turn. But not thinking too much about it, we'll go ahead and get some tower buffs here, get levels, and I like the idea of Saber AM, I just think I need more, right? To try and not necessarily prevent damage, but slow down the boats as much as possible. So we will go ahead and deploy some extra Sabers here. Go for that mass recruitment I like so much. And while I did think about getting another Saber, I wanted to get a Typhoon tech. So thinking of maybe covering a future flank here, having some late Typhoons. We'll add some Typhoons in the back. Now with the addition of some extra Sabers here and no oil, we kind of have a concentration of AM devices. You can see they're doing quite a decent job at stopping these boats. I think especially as boats start to go down while my Sabers survive, you can see that while they're not super effective, they're doing a pretty good job here. Finally, this boat's starting to get through, but you know, with everything dead, we will be dealing a little bit of damage to our opponent here. Round 9. We're given another intensive training. I don't think these two are too useful to us, especially with how low we are. We'll go ahead and take that intensive training and just prioritize getting some levels here. We'll pick up those temp buffs. And looking at my opponent's board, they still really don't have anything stopping our Sabers, so you know, normally I wouldn't level them since I'm just using them to AM, but I guess that's not really accurate. I mean, they're doing a lot of damage, you know, they're countering the spiders pretty well. And I like the idea of having some barriers for my units, so we'll go ahead and get a Typhoon to cover this center here in front of the tower. We'll add another Sabertooth and get some additional crawlers, I believe. setting up that movement beacon to get into that tower. Now, I was a bit surprised at the mountain here. Typically, you'd want plating. I mean, it wouldn't stop too much damage because I have high level phoenixes, but I think just a level 2 mountain isn't going to do too much here. Yeah, it does go down pretty quickly. The Saber AM doing an excellent job, and they're just pushing in super hard, just wiping out everything on the ground. But yeah, just look at the amount of sabers it takes to stop the boat. I think it was 6 sabers there, able to stop that boat. Now these are carry boats with the right techs, but with a lot of damage on the field, we will be taking it round 9. And yeah, definitely an interesting game here. I think it's not often where having sabers with just AM works out this well, but you know, I would have liked to see my opponent be a bit more aggressive with selling enhanced module boats, especially because they got that early module, that early training spec. But to kind of go over something really quickly, you know, I think there was a couple ways for my opponent to win here. So primarily using the econ off of this double intensive module combination. I like the idea of the Titan, the mountain there. So again, I think it does have to be elite recruited, and we'll get mountain plating. The reason I like the Titan play here, the mountain, is because the reason I was winning the round so easily, or so easy at the end there, is because my sabers were able to push in and just wipe out everything on the ground, right? So if there's something to hold them back and let the boats do their work, it should be pretty easy to win here. Looking pretty close, but sabers are starting to go down. With these wasps remaining, yep, there we go. And now another thing my opponent could have done is, since they're already in carry boats, they have the techs, they have the econ. This is kind of a situation where you'll see the weakness of Saber AM. You know, that primarily being it's not very effective. You know, particularly against boats here. So I think if we just recruit some extra boats, we'll get those tower enhancements as well. Get this level. Oh. Okay, and just kind of movement beacon these guys this way. I mean, the tower's pretty easy to take. 1 second debuff's not really worth it. But yeah, even in this situation where there isn't a whole lot stopping the sabers, they do kind of just push in and take the tower. But carry boats they're really strong. I mean, having this many boats with the econ module training spec, yeah, you can kind of see how ridiculous it gets here. But yeah, I think this was a really interesting game. Like I said, there's not a lot of situations where I'm able to get away with using sabers in this way, kind of having a concentration of AM. But yeah, I thought this was a lot of fun. So if you enjoyed the content, consider liking and subscribing. If you have any thoughts or comments, let me know down below. But that's all for now. If you want to see me play live, I do stream on Twitch. But I'll catch you all next time.